It's Lynn from Life Yoga. Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to Transformation Talk. Today we are talking about the big, huge, giant subject of pain. I am Lynn from Life Yoga, and Transformation Talk, just so you know, was created so that we can, as a group, interact and discuss some of the big problems in transformation, talk about how transformation works, get some knowledge base there about energy, about causal energy, transformation, how it works in your physical body, in your life, and how we really get from point A to point B, from our intentions through our physical bodies and out into the world to create the changes we want in our bodies, our lives, and also in world change. So that's what Transformation Talk's all about. If you haven't been here before, this is an interactive group. I am really encouraging you guys who are on here to, number one, let me know you're on here. I'm going to check the comments in a minute. Just let me know that I'm getting through to you, that the technology is working. And number two, really encourage you to ask questions. This is your chance to get at me, to use me for information, see what we can do with life yoga principles and a lot of the really successful techniques we've had using life yoga in a lot of different applications. Tons of information here for you. So if you have a question, I don't care if it's about your big toe, your left ear, doesn't matter how simple that question is, please put it in the comments below. I will get in there at the end of the session and answer any questions that pop up as I see them. So there that is. Also know that if you miss a session of Transformation Talk, or you have friends, you're like, here, you had a good time, you have friends that you want to recommend that to, it lives on this post on the Life Yoga Facebook fan page, the 22 social site where you guys clicked in. It lives at this link all week long. So if you have stuff you want to review, if you want to tell a friend to come check it out, they can look for that all week long, so that information is there. So you don't need to take notes and, you know, do that kind of thing. So let me just check really quickly. I'm going to pop over here to the comments and see if see who's here, make sure you guys are hearing me. So let's see if I can do this successfully. I think I can. I think I just go here. I don't want to share that. I want to go over here. Okay, looks like there's a few of you here. I'm going to pop back over here. Yeah, I'm not even sure if that's here. Maybe that is it. Okay, so pop in. Let me know what's happening. So, subject of the day, pain. Touchy subject for a lot of people. It's a big joke, actually, with clients of mine, especially my private clients, therapeutic clients, because a lot of people in this world perceive pain as a really awful thing and something we want to steer away from, when actually pain itself is simply a message and a perception, a catalyst for change. Most of my clients do not show up at my door dedicated to really working on their physical bodies, their breath, their life, to facilitate change until they're in enough pain that they don't want it to be the way it is anymore. So for all intents and purposes, right now, really questioning yourself, number one, on how you perceive pain, because our actual idea of pain is based on our perception through our physical body and nervous system. Even if it's an emotional pain, it's a psychoenergetic pain, financial pain, any kind of pain that we feel like we're having, we perceive that through our breath and our nervous system subconsciously. So that subconscious nervous system, that perception of pain that we perceive subconsciously becomes our conscious thought, awareness, conscious perception of pain. So that's a really, really important thing just to remember right off. So questioning yourself throughout this hour we have here, questioning yourself throughout your day, how do I perceive pain and where do those perceptions come from? Another really interesting thing about pain itself is that the only person that really understands your pain is you, because it's a perception. I can empathize with it, but I will never really be able to feel your pain, nor will you be able to feel my pain or anybody else's. It's a very, very personal thing, and how we perceive pain in our nervous system subconsciously, pain in our lives subconsciously, all of those subconscious triggers that go on with pain, whatever kind it is, that is a very, very personal thing. So you don't want to really be passing judgment on whether somebody else should be in pain, whether their pain is real or not, because your pain, whatever it is, how stupid it may be, whether a mosquito bite gives you massive amounts of physical pain, doesn't matter what it is, whether somebody's word gives you a certain amount of pain, that is always very, very, very personal thing. So probably one of the biggest things in pain itself is understanding that your pain, whatever it is you feel, for you is valid. It doesn't mean that just because it's not the type of pain or the amount of pain that you should feel necessarily as perceived by everybody else, it doesn't mean that it's not valid. One of the things I have learned in therapeutics, in pain in the physical body, is that scale, you know, and then people go into the ER, the scale of pain from 1 to 10, that is so vastly different with every person, from every kind of physical injury, if we're just talking physical pain, so vastly different the perception of what a bulging disc, for example, in a back means in one person to the next person. Some people don't even feel that, or they feel just a little something wrong and the other person can't move, when it's really the same exact issue, same problem. So noting that to self, I'm just saying that first off because a lot of us don't think that our pains are valid, and they are, whatever they are to you. So we're going to approach this subject in a couple different ways here. First off, we're going to talk about what pain is, the actual energy of pain. What pain is. We're going to define that a little bit for you so you can get some ideas of how to kind of get that in your head there and absorb that. We're going to talk about pain as a catalyst for transformation. That, personally for me, huge subject. I've had a lot of it. I am here talking to you about pain and the founder of Life Yoga and all these things personally in my life because I was pretty much forced there at age 10 by pain, by a big pain. So I'll tell you that story. We'll talk a little bit about how pain works as a catalyst. We're going to talk about the pathways of pain, how pain works in a human being, not just what it is, but how does that work in your human being through your intention, through your breath, through your nervous system, through your perception, and how that works in a transformative sense, and what we can do and how we can be in our human being to change that. Lastly, solutions for pain. How do we get in there and actually change that in our human being? And how do we, as individuals, as human beings in these meat suits of body, right? How do we understand better where our pain is coming from and how to go about transforming that and changing that into something positive in our bodies and in our lives. So there it is. Once we get through all that, which we will, I will look and answer your questions, and we'll get into some of that stuff at that time. So I'll be checking back and forth. If you have a question as I'm talking, feel free to pop that up. I don't have yet a way to see that at the same time that I'm talking to you. I'm still working on all that technical stuff, so I'll have to pop back and forth there and check that out. I'm sure there's some monkey way of doing that I haven't yet figured out. New format to me. So, okay, so let's talk about pain, okay? We know that the entire universe is made of energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. Newtonian physics, got to go over it every time. If some of this energetic stuff that I'm talking about is just like, whoa, rocket science, deer in the headlights stuff for you, go back to the transformation talk, like 1 or 2 there. That'll explain a little bit more about how energy works and how the universe works, and everything's energy. But know that energy is neither created nor destroyed, and everything in this world is energy. So that means that your pain is energy, whether it's neurological firing that's firing pain in your sensory nervous system into your brain and telling you it's pain, or whether it's a deep psychoenergetic subconscious pain that you have that's preventing you from facilitating change. Whatever it is, that pain itself and the energy of it is energy, which means it's causal energy. Very important to know. And it also, energetically, we know from quantum physics expansion theory, like energy attracts like energy. So if you have pain, and there's pain here, that pain, the more you're in that, the more that's going to attract like energy and more pain. So this is not necessarily a bad thing in the human condition. There's a reason why all this stuff happens and is happening. But note that pain is an energy. It's just a simple thing that is part of the universe. It's always there. And if you have a lot in there, that's because you and your human being, for whatever reason, whether it's a real reason, whether it's a subconscious reason, whether it's a residual reason, we'll get into all of that. That pain is energy, and you can always, 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 through your human systems, change what that energy is and how it's being. So the fact that it is energy means that we have the capacity as a human being to transform that and change that into a different form. So there you go. There is pain. Pain is a catalyst for change. So you know how a lot of us, just given a life situation, go, yeah, you know, I really, really, really should be taking better care of myself in a physical body way. I really, really, really should stop running in these bad shoes, and I really should stop running in these bad shoes. And yeah, you know, every day I come home and my joints hurt and my knees hurt because I know I'm running in these bad shoes, for instance, right? When that pain gets bad enough for you and you can't run in those shoes anymore, you are going to eventually go and get yourself a new pair of running shoes, okay? If it's just a little bit, we kind of let it go on and let it go on and let it go on. So that pain, when it gets to a point where it tells us enough that something is not right energetically and something is wrong, that is the point where we change a lot of the time. Unfortunately as human beings, that works to our advantage sometimes because we can go along and get through stuff and still make our lives work while having some pain. The unfortunate part about that is that usually by the time it gets to the point where it's bad enough, we have a lot of work to do. So I'm going to give you an example here. As a child, some of you guys may know this, some of you may not. The reason why I'm here and I've transformed in all ways to this point in my life to talk to you about transformation is because when I was 10 years old, I had no pain. I had no pain. I was a gymnast. I was very active. I was a happy kid, and all of a sudden, I started twisting weird in my gymnastics tricks, and my coach said, you know, you need to get your back checked out. It looks kind of funny. Well, I wasn't feeling a lot of pain. I was just twisting weird, and I wanted that to end. So I went to the doctors, and in a matter of about 15 minutes, my entire life was altered. I went in there, and they said, they took an x-ray of my back, and they said, this is the deal. You have 69 degrees curve in your back, lateral curve. I had severe scoliosis. They said if we don't fuse your entire spine, it means you're going to be pretty much immobile somewhat for the rest of your life, but you'll be okay. By the time you're 16 or so, you're probably not going to walk if we don't do this. You are going to be pretty much disfigured by the time you go through your growth cycle and mature. And as a result of that, I'm not going to go into gory details here, but as a result of that information and that pain that I had, that this was going to happen, I decided to transform my physical body through my breath. Kind of subconsciously. I was 10 or 11 years old. But because of that, all of the system of my teaching and the life yoga system of using breath and energy transfer to create change, all of that system and all of that knowledge has come as a result of my transformation from pain, from realizing that, you know what, if I don't change this right now and I don't figure this out and I don't figure out a different way to be energetically in my body and move my spine and do all this stuff, I'm going to be in worse pain than I already am. And it scared me enough, got into my nervous system enough subconsciously as a child that I developed subconsciously pretty much a whole system of being in my body that facilitates change. So that's the information I'm going to give you, but that's also a real live explanation of how pain itself is a catalyst for people to change. Pain in relationship, we all know that, gets bad enough, it gets bad enough. Eventually, yep, you know, that catalyst of this isn't working, this is stressing me out, my nervous system is a wreck. That very pain is what inspires us to move on to things that are more productive. So one of the interesting things about that catalyst thing is once the catalyst works and the pain works, we begin to focus on what we want. As soon as we accept pain as a catalyst for change, as a catalyst for transformation, and just say, hey, this is what this is. This is telling me I need to change, whether that's your back pain, whether it's your mind pain, whether it's your left ear emotional pain, doesn't matter. When we can actually be in and accept that that's simply what that is a catalyst for change, then we can focus on the transformation. And once we focus on the transformation and less on the pain, that's where things begin to change. And we're going to talk about how to do that here in a little bit. So just keeping in mind, your pain is there for a reason, and it's not a bad thing. It's pain. It's telling you something. Okay? So I'm going to go through, again, I'm going to bring it back out, the Life Yoga Wheel of Life here. It's a teaching tool I have. I'll explain it to you in a sec when we look at it. It's been up actually on every one of these videos so far because it's just a way for you to visualize the pathway from intention to transform soulful intention through the physical body and out as an energetic pattern. We're going to look at that for a minute, and we're going to talk about the pathway of pain and how that really works and how it's causal and how it works in forward and moving ahead and how it works in reverse. So give me a sec here. I am going to click over to here again. Let me go over here. Let's see where I can get here. See if I can get my other page. Huh. I don't know if I can get that up. I'm not quite sure where it went. I can move this over. Oh, weird. Can't seem to get on my screen share for some reason. Move this over, see if it's over here a little bit. Yep, there it is. Screen share. Technology, I'm telling you, working hard at it. Okay, so there we go. We should now be on screen share. Whoa! This is sideways, but we'll see what we can do with that. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, I'm going to pull this guy over. I have two of these up here for some reason. Whoa! Cursor's on that one. Can I move the cursor to this one? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go with this guy. Hopefully you can see that. This is your Life Yoga Wheel of Life here. Again, teaching tool. I developed this to teach yoga to teachers originally, to teach them how to look at a physical body, at a human being, energetically, anatomically, and figure out where the blocks are, where to look for blocks in their systems to assist them in facilitating change. So that's psychoenergetic systems, it's perception, it's all of these different systems of the body in here that you can look at. So here we are, and I'm just going to go over basic things. So this yellow here, if you look at it, this is collective consciousness. This is the energy of everything, right? This is all of the possibilities. I like to call it the sea of possibilities. Sea of possibilities, anything that could happen, any energy that is, in any form, right? We are human and we are alive because we breathe, and our breath controls our subconscious nervous system. So somehow, you know that thing in your head that you feel, that subconscious feeling and knowing that we can't quite describe. Some of us talk about that as our relationship with God. Some of us talk about that as cosmic soup. Some of us talk about that as that thing we can't describe. Whatever that connection is, because we're human and because our soulful sense is actually energy, right? Our soulful sense has a connection with this universal energy because we're part of that. And the only reason that our physical world and our physical body exists for us, and we get to be here and perceive our world as it is and create our world energetically as it is because somehow this soulful sense, that subconscious feeling, knowing thing that we can't quite describe, that's part of the cosmic soup, because we breathe, that moves through our body. So, in pain, for instance, well, in anything, this deep subconscious feeling, knowing, this is this red ring here, expansion, intention, manifestation, energy, being, right, in the middle here. This is a soulful sense, and this is our connection with possibility. This also, our soulful, subconscious feeling and knowing, the thing that we just know is energetically in our human being. We know from quantum physics and Buddhism and all sorts of other things here, we know that this subconscious feeling and knowing is what is causal in the physical world. It is causal of what happens in your physical body. It's causal of what happens in your thoughts. It's causal of the energy that you are and the energy you put out into the world and the energy you attract. Now remembering Remembering again that everything is energy, and energy is causal, and like energy attracts like energy, right? So, what this means for us in this soulful sense in pain, that if we can think out here in our perceptive sense and even in our physical body and tell ourselves that we won't have pain, that our pain will change, that, for example, this is really common in chronic pain, when people have chronic pain for no reason, or when your shoulders tighten up or your back goes out when you're emotionally stressed and not centered. However we are being in this subconscious feeling, knowing, your deep feeling sense that maybe you're aware of sometimes, maybe you're not, whatever those feelings are, that is what actually causes your physical body to be in a certain way. And it's what causes the energy, whatever this is here, is attracting that same energy from here. So it's kind of a catch-22, even from the yellow to the red, even though there's no arrows here, because how you're subconsciously feeling when you really get into your deep emotions and that sense of feeling that's in your body, that's attracting certain things to you from the cosmic soup, right? Certain energies to you. So even if we're thinking ourselves out of pain, even if we really believe in our mind that things are going to stop hurting, that destructive things in our body are going to quit happening, that destructive things in our life are going to quit happening, if we do not believe this and be in this in our deepest feeling and knowing, we're still going to keep attracting the other stuff. So this works reverse for some people, because after you've been in pain for a while, you're so focused on the problem of the pain, like you want the pain to go away, you want the pain to go away, instead of being focused on the solution, which is just there's no pain, the feeling of no pain, right? The subconscious feeling, knowing of no pain versus having pain and having to solve the problem. A lot of the time there's a lot of issue here, because if you've been about the problem of pain for so long, even if there's a solution maybe in your body or in your cognitive perception, you're still being in the problem of pain, which attracts pain. It's very interesting. So again, if we're looking at the wheel of life here, however we open to expansion, however we're being in this moment, however we open to possibilities of no pain, however we release into the intention of no pain, right? And just go, yep, that's it, I got no pain. However we manifest that energy through our soul and make it who we are on a deep level, that is what we're going to be able to draw through our body. Because this red ring right here, right, if you look at this, we go around, this is our no pain here, right? We go around and we're being this way, however we're being in this less than a second, because we are alive, because we breathe, that has to go, and that's our link from this world out here to our physical body. It's got to go through here. However we're being here is going to determine what we breathe into our body in actual physical energy in the world. So this, for a lot of people, sometimes is hard to understand that, yeah, we're breathing in air, and you're like, yeah, I'm just breathing, but really that breath and the essence of that breath and how you're being in that breath on a subconscious level determines how that breath moves through your body. So while you're taking in physical oxygen, which is energy, releasing carbon dioxide, doing that whole thing, mechanics of the breath, the way in which you're doing that and how you are being in that breath determines how that energy is going to move through your body. So, and how it's going to stimulate your subconscious nervous system. So however I'm inhaling here, however I am breathing, this is so important. However much you are able to expand non-pain into your system and release yourself into that intention, to that feeling of just there is no pain here in exhalation, however we take this expansion and choose that intention from it on a physical level through our breath, determines how engaged we can be in non-pain, right? That engagement in non-pain, as that is, determines the energy of non-pain that we transfer through us to create our posture, or where we end up in that less than a second. This posture right here, wherever we ended up in that less than a second, however we breathed non-pain in and made that a positive thing in our system, wherever we end up here in our subconscious neurological system is going to determine our cognitive perception of how much pain we're in. So I know this sounds really, really, really bizarre to some of you, and yet this ability of your breath to control your subconscious nervous system, to control your perception, is probably one of the most important things you can get from this if you are in physical pain or any kind of pain. Because once you hit perception, if your perception goes, whoa, hey, feels pretty good right now, this opens, this means that you are opening into this feeling, whatever it is. Wherever you ended up here determines your perception of whether pain's happening or not. And then, of course, this in turn goes around and around and around, which I'm not really going to get necessarily into, but however much you feel the possibility of non-pain determines how much your perception is going to release into, yes, it is possible not to have pain. Does that make sense? Which is going to determine how centered you feel in non-pain and your actual movement and action, your perception of change. So once you feel enough times, right, if you took non-pain all the way through here, pretty from the soulful sense to your physical body, and you're able to do that in your body, and now it's in your perceptive sense, and you felt non-pain, the more you're in non-pain over and over and over again, the more that pattern of non-pain is reinforced. Then your perceptions, right, and this is all happening less than a second, every less than a second, right? As that's happening, what happens here is that you begin to move into this circle, which is a transformative circle, and you begin being and radiating, because you are energy, right? Non-pain out to the universe, which attracts what? Doesn't attract pain, it attracts feeling good. And that begins to be how you are being on a transformative level, because, again, how you are being energetically, once you go all the way through from the center and out here, in that split second of how you're being, that energy of you determines all of what access you have to this huge field of endless possibility here in the yellow. So if you're being not only open to like, wow, I don't have to feel pain, this is cool, and you're actually being in non-pain, all of a sudden everything you attract to yourself in your nervous system is, wow, I feel good, anything's possible, and I have non-pain. So, of course, that is the perfect scenario that happens. So how do we actually do that? A lot of different things we can talk about here. Okay, I'm going to pop over here when I get off of here and just look to see if you guys haven't had any questions so far. So that clear? You can look at that. This Wheel of Life is on the website in the tools section at lifeyogaworld.com. That's my site. Also tons of blogs on there. If you go to the blog thing, it'll explain a lot on there. But this is in the tools. You can access it anytime. Look it up. You'll drive yourself crazy with this graph. We all do every day. I'm not sure I even understand it and I invented it. There's always a new way to look at it. As you can see, the arrows go all different ways. So you can kind of look at this and notice through each wedge this way, you know, how you're being, how that's working, how you expand, whether that's working. And you can kind of get into the nitty-gritties, especially in physical pain and anxiety and stress in anything, but especially in those things. Really notice how you're breathing when you feel pain, when you perceive pain is happening. Notice what happens to your breath. And then take a second, take an inhale, release your exhale all the way, and notice your power to change that through your breath. One of the reasons, again, why I'm doing these talks, it's not like I can take all of you and watch you breathe all at once here and do a session with you. It's because when people and clients and everybody, entrepreneurs, everybody that I've come in contact with in life yoga, when they understand these principles and concepts of how energy works and how it works through the physical body, when they really get that, all of a sudden a light goes on and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. The cognitive mind now tells their physical body that they actually have the capacity to change this stuff. And it's amazingly powerful stuff, which is why I'm out here sharing it with the world. Let me do this. Do I click back on here? I'm going to click over here. Well, maybe not. Does that get me? Here, hold on. Oh, that's really weird. Okay, here I am. So here I'm back. So if you need to look at that, just go to the website. You can find that there. Where else can you find that? Life Yoga Facebook fan page. It's in the photos there. You can check that out. It's in, I know it's in the Life Yoga Manifesto, in the book thing, in their book photo album. So you can check all that stuff out. It's all in there. So that is the visual for you. I'm going to click over here again for a second. See if I can find the link. Hold on. I'll take off here for a sec. Maybe, maybe not. This is so good. I've got to be driving like technical people crazy right now. I just want to look at this. Oh. All right. If you want to do that, let me just look in here. Make sure you guys are on here. Oh. Okay, cool. Well, you guys all can see me. I see Haley. You're here loud and clear. Thanks, Robin. Thank you, friends. Let's do this. Make sure I'm not missing anything up here. Andrea's here. Cool. Hi, Andrea. Hi, guys. Oh, wow. Okay. So some of you guys have a couple of questions. I will get back with that in a moment. I can see that. I'm going to go back over here. Woohoo! Do this. Choose myself. There we go. So you should be seeing me now. Okay, so let's do this. Let's talk about solutions for pain in a minute. I'm going to give you a couple examples of history that I've had with clients. Histories from, I'm going to take a physical pain example, and I'm going to take a emotional pain example. I'm going to go with a physical one. Back pain is such a huge thing, and it's a chronic thing for people. It is also something that seems to occur when there is no set problem with it. So again, if we're looking at pain as, okay, I can't perceive your pain and how much that is, and it's a very individual thing. But very, very oftentimes with back pain, you can transfer this to anything you want here. With back pain in particular, I will get clients, I'm going to use my friend Roy as an example. Years and years ago, I was teaching yoga at a gym, and I was personal training, and I was actually in the gym working out. And I see this guy lying on the floor, right? And he's kind of rolling around. And, well, this is kind of strange. So I went over to him. I was talking to him like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, I can't get up. He's like, this sucks. He goes, my back is killing me. I'm in back spasm and I can't get up. So I said, well, can you allow me to help you here for a second? And so we start talking, and turns out this guy Roy, who's a dentist, had back surgery. Everything. They had run every test on this guy. He had been through miles and miles and miles and miles of physical therapy. And for whatever reason that they couldn't figure out, he still went into these massive low back spasms, right? Well, it turns out the guy was a dentist. He hired me for trade, which was a beautiful thing for me and my teeth. But we kind of worked it out. I said, I'll help you with your back. He goes, you get me working, I'll do all your teeth. So, I had some incentive there, and so did he. But anyway, he's rolling around on the floor, and he said, I know there's nothing wrong with me, and my mind tells me, no, I don't want to be in pain. And for whatever reason, every time I move a certain way, especially in spinal extension, arching of the back, a little bit, even if I go a little bit there, the whole thing spasms, right? So to me, I'm like, okay, that's obviously a neurological issue. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. So accept that, and accept his belief that his back could change. So what happened is we did the typical thing. I looked at his breathing patterns, and what I found, which is really common in any kind of pain, but very specific to back pain, especially low back pain, and for people whose back spasm, is that every single time he even had the slight fear that his back was going to go into spasm, he held his breath. So how pain works in the body, right? If we inhale and we hold our breath, this is a fight or flight thing. Again, so if you're not familiar with that, you might want to go check some other videos in the backlog here. But basically, in fight or flight, you inhale, right? When you're triggered that something is really, really wrong, you inhale more to get more oxygen to your body. That stimulates your adrenals, which causes your nervous system to fire very rapidly, and a lot of the time go into a holding pattern to just hold and get you out of the situation you're in. So what happens in back pain in a lot of people, or chronic pain, is that even when the problem itself is solved, right? He can bend over. He's not going to lose a disc, right? Nothing is wrong with him. He's got some strength back. He's ready to move. For whatever reason, every time he gets the trigger of that movement, instead of his body saying, okay, we're going to release into that movement and move energy through, it grips and holds like there's something wrong still. Super duper duper common. It's like post-traumatic stress in your body. This goes for not only physical things, it goes for anxiety, huge anxiety, that holding. So when you've had that pattern, right, and you've had pain over and over and over again, so now he doesn't even have any reason to have pain, but every time he bends over or tries to get up from the floor, he has pain, therefore he holds his breath, anticipates pain. That holding of the breath triggers the nervous system into kind of like a subliminal fight or flight, meaning that it goes into emergency mode. And when it goes into emergency mode, it fires neurons, and they hold, right? Which causes his muscle fibers to hold and spasm. The minute that holds and spasms, guess what it does? Like energy attracts like energy. So the more he tries and efforts to move himself from that position, the more those fire, the more he's got energy of pain and firing right there. That's attracting more energy he puts into that, and just tries to muscle through it and get that to happen. the more firing that attracts and the more his back spasms until he can't move and he's left there on the floor going, help, I feel like a turtle here. So how do we reverse that? So I'm going to give you another example just of that in a psychoenergetic holding. Say every single time you come home and you open the door, your significant other says, oh my God, you're late again. Oh my God, you're late again. And you know, right, from the moment that you walk up to the door that that's going to happen, right? So then you go to another door of another friend's house and suddenly you feel your body tense. Every time you go to the door to go into somebody's house, you feel yourself tense and you feel some anxiety and you feel that tension in your neck, that little energy blob that happens when it tells you you're tense. So that follows you around, and pretty soon you're just like, oh God, I don't really want to go over to those people's house because I just don't feel like going to the door. But you don't know why, right? You don't know why. There's just some ickiness associated with going up to the door and going inside the house every time you do it. It's kind of a weird example, but go with it. So every single time you go to the door, you feel icky, right? You don't know why you feel icky, but you feel some pain. So pretty soon, you don't want to go to the door, which now when you're in the car getting ready to go to the door, you already have more anxiety about going to the door. So this just blossoms and blossoms. It feeds on itself until pretty soon you're just like, God, I don't even want to like interact with people, right? And I definitely don't want to go to the door and see my significant other who I actually love, and I don't even really know why. So that is a little bit of post-traumatic stress, but that's how something like that can build something so simple, something even benign as a comment or the way you're treated or the way that a feeling is stimulated. Every single time that thing happens, you're going to hold your breath and go, yeah, I don't want to go there. And until you get in there and reverse that pattern, doing the opposite thing, it's going to keep happening and it's going to keep growing until that pain is so much that you're in breakdown and eventually, you know, you're here, you're solving the problem. So how do we solve that? Well, this is really, really simple. If holding of the breath, we know that that holds energy, attracts held energy, and creates perceived stress in the system, right? Because now you're in spasm of whatever kind it is, physical or emotional. You're in anxiety. You're in that place of angst that you want pain, angst and pain that you want to get rid of, right? How do we reverse that? Because if we don't, it's going to keep going until you got to buy a new pair of shoes. Like what I said, you're going to have to really make a huge change. And the reality of it is even if you go, you have that pain and you buy those new shoes, but you don't correct the problem of how you're running in those shoes, that wears them down in a way that makes them not work for you, you're going to end up right back where you are. And that's what I call the transformational rat wheel there. It just keeps going around and around and around, because if you don't go to the center and the cause of the pain, the cause of the issue, and you're just putting Band-Aids on it to fix it all the time, famous last words, we all do. But just make it, you know, make it a little bit better. Instead of getting that sleep, just drink 4 more cups of coffee, and then you're more amped, and then, you know, pretty soon. Just the way that humans, our rationale likes to work is to fix it. If we go to the center, we can fix it. So if everything is dictated, because we're alive, because we breathe, our breath controls our subconscious nervous system, which controls everything, right? If we can inhale and stimulate, guess what we can do to release? We can exhale. So this is the beauty of the physical systems. This is like the most awesome thing ever. If inhalation stimulates the nervous system, exhalation releases the nervous system. So when we're in a state of release, and only when we are in a state of release in our nervous system, feeling sense, and subconscious nervous system, when we're in that release there, that is when we have an opportunity to move a new pattern through. So it is not enough to even think about, I'm not in pain. Think about, I feel good. It's not in here, in your head. It's deeper than that. If you can learn to inhale, expand, exhale, feel the release, and when you're in that point of release, then feel non-pain and be only in that. And then you breathe in, you expand into non-pain, you release, exhalation into non-pain. I know this sounds like crazy because it's the simplest thing, but it really is that simple. I can tell you from experience, I've had more experience of back pain than most in this world, if we're talking back pain. If you can exhale, release, and then be in what you want. Be in what you want to manifest energetically, it will take that pain away eventually. It may take a while. So for those of you in back pain, first thing you do, you exhale, release, and then move. Never ever, if you sense you're going to have a back spasm, if that even crosses your mind, if it even crosses your subconscious, if it's so bad that it just crosses your subconscious all the time, you exhale, engage, plant your feet, and then move. The more grounded you are in that release and in that exhalation, the more chance you have to move it through. Same thing, if you have anxiety and you're like, oh, I just can't take this anymore, or, oh, the stress of me reaching this goal is too big, you exhale, you ground, and you see yourself, and you be in the feeling of yourself being different in whatever that is. It is that simple. It's really, really that simple. So I'm going to check over here really quick and see if you guys ask me any questions. And if there aren't any questions, I'll leave you with a few comments here. Let me see where I go. Wow. Keep screen sharing. I know I don't have to screen share to be here, but somehow, right now I have to. Except that that's not refreshed, so I wonder if I can do that. Let me start my screen share. Yeah. I'll do that, and then I'm going to refresh this. Oh, well, I can do that. That's cool. I'm such a nerd, you guys. I'm telling you. At some point here, oh, look, I got some... sorry, people. Okay, you guys are here. It's all right, well, there that is. I guess you are not. Click back over here. Unless I'm not seeing it somewhere, which is very possible. So, if I have ignored your question, please let me know. Okay, there I am. Let me know, and I'll figure out why I'm not seeing those, because I'm really still working pretty hard on this. So I'm going to leave you guys just with a thought or two here. Got a little perception section here in Life Yoga Manifesto. Remembering, guys, here is the book that explains all of this stuff. Spent a lot of time in a hammock writing this guy. Just so you know, upcoming launch for this, you can get this on Amazon starting on May 8th. If you do purchase this book on Amazon on May 8th, you will get a 28% discount for it. You need to be on a webinar that you keep posted for that on May 4th. This coming Sunday on May 4th, I'm doing a webinar about some topics here in the book. Cool information on how this stuff works. Still picking specific subjects for that, but it's going to be super cool. On that webinar on May 4th, you're going to be able to have access to 20% off this book if you're signed up for that webinar. You got to be signed, got to be on there for a bit, I think, for how that works. And you're going to have access to a whole ton of free bonuses, like $300, $400 worth of free bonuses that you get just for purchasing this book on the 8th, because we want to have this be a bestseller so that we can get this information out into the world in a super cool way, and we're launching it, so we might as well do that. So anyway, transformational things for pain. Questions to ask yourself. I'm going to relate these to pain. This is out of the manifestation place. Okay. Do you feel that you can manifest anything you choose? So do you soulfully feel in your soulful sense and know that you do not have to be in pain, that you can manifest something else? That is huge. If you don't feel that way, inhale, exhale, meditate on that. Eventually, the release of that, the release you feel in your nervous system while you are putting into your feeling and subconscious nervous system feelings and thoughts and awareness that it is possible not to be in pain. That sounds crazy maybe to some of you. It might seem a little esoteric, but that's actually the place to start. So do you feel you can manifest anything? Do you feel the power to create change in your physical body and life? Not only do you feel that this is possible, but do you feel the power that you can manifest that you can do that and be in that? Do you experience fear of success? This is a huge, huge thing in pain, because if you're always helpless and you're always in pain, we get used to that. Be really, really real with yourself and notice if that pain, that angst, whatever it is serving you in a way that makes you want to keep it. That's a hard one. Kind of hard to get in there sometimes for a lot of people, but sometimes it's easier to be in pain with your back on the couch because guess what? You don't need to go to work. You don't need to deal with a lot of things. You have a lot of people sometimes taking care of you. Things working. Notice what's going on there. That's huge. Do you feel unmotivated or paralyzed by your pain? Is it paralyzing you, or is it a catalyst for you to facilitate change? Notice if you're viewing it as something that stops you rather than something that triggers you to do and be and engage in being in another way. Do you expect others to change your world for you or your pain for you? Are you going to 10,000 people like me, which you won't get from me because you'll have to do it, but if you're going and getting tons of body work and you've tried acupuncture and you've tried everything and you're waiting for the stars to align for you, for somebody else to fix this besides you, your pain is yours. I hate to tell you, it's the way it works. So notice if you're reaching outside yourself for a solution, not that you don't go for help, but are you looking for somebody else to fix it with that weekly massage or whatever? Are you able and willing to go to the cause? Do you feel that things are easier for others? Do you feel like other people, their bodies don't do this, and oh, woe is me, and this is easier for you to get out of your pain than it is for me? Do you have that feeling in your subconscious nervous system? Are you feeling envious of the guy who's running across the lawn when you could barely stand up and walk in all aspects, whether that's psychoenergetic or not? Because everybody has their pain. You're not alone. Yours is no different. It's just yours. And are you an overachiever and you're underachiever? Sometimes we work so hard at getting rid of our pain that we're about getting rid of the pain, just like we talked about. So that's a huge thing to notice. If you're aggro about getting out of your pain, a lot of the time, whatever that is, you're so aggro about changing it that you can't be in what you need to be in to have the change occur. You can't be in that release. So if it's, I just got to get out of this back pain, and I'm going to go do these exercises, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you're all that way, notice if you're exhaling again, releasing and being in a way that is going to attract non-pain. There it is. I think we're just a little over here. I'm going to read you one last thing just to close, because this is a cool thing out here. Okay, let's see. We're in, again, the manifestation section, because that's a big thing in pain, whether we manifest or not. If we are soulfully engaging in fear, doubt, anger, or helplessness, we manifest fear, doubt, anger, helplessness, regardless of the soulful intention we think in our heads we're manifesting. Ultimately, the soul and the breath are causal forces in the human condition. If we soulfully choose and intend to be an empowered manifestation, we will be. The soulful knowing that we have the ability to breathe into, engage in, and manifest anything will instantaneously, or eventually, break down any perceived barriers or limitations, emotional, physical, or neurological. We feel, we breathe. We allow, we engage, we manifest, we become. There you go. Famous last words. So hope you guys have a great day. If you come up with questions after this and you're like, I have this burning question, please, please, please feel free to engage. Keep your eyes open again. Webinar on Sunday the 4th. I will be here next week as well. There may be a time change, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. If you're here, but Transformation Talk every week, every week. Bring your friends. Share this with your friends, please. Share the link with your friends if you got some good information here. And yeah, ask me questions if you need to. And you guys have an awesome, awesome, awesome pain-free day. Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time on Transformation Talk.